Hey, what's up? There are two types of silent treatment, and knowing which type is going to help you determine if this is not good and you need to probably move away from this type of person, or if this is fairly normal behavior and totally workable, right? Okay, so when I was growing up, I had a mom who, when she didn't like what was going on, she would go silent. And she had this look on her face and she would sort of disappear for days. And as a little boy, I felt terrified. I was like, what caused this and what was happening? And over time, it felt like she was punishing me, like giving me the silent treatment because she was just feeling contempt and disdain for me. And that's the story I made up about her growing up. It's like, wow, don't do the things that piss her off. And when you're a little kid, you don't have choice to like leave the relationship or challenge the big people. It's very different. But you might reflect back first before I get into these two types and see, do I have a trigger here that's historical? Did I grow up with a parent or a caregiver or a sibling who it felt like they were punishing me with silence? Or when they went silent or quiet or they withdrew their love for me or whatever, I got anxious and I got scared and upset. That would be a very normal reaction for a little one, right? So that matters. Your history here matters. My history here matters. So we can start to tease out what is actually going on here with the other person. And we want to be smart in our approach on how to deal with it. So the first type of silent treatment is what I call the normal silent treatment. And it's not even the silent treatment, okay? But it's very normal and it happens in most relationships. And that is when one person just simply gets quiet, withdraws, shuts down, feels overwhelmed, they can't use their words. And because whatever is going on in the relationship is stressing them out and it's feeling upsetting to them, their default setting is to retreat and get quiet. And you could say avoid. These people often get labeled with avoidant attachment styles. It starts to feel like they're avoiding, right? They don't want to come back and repair the conflict. They don't want to talk about it. They just disappear. Now, being on the receiving end of both of these feels the same pretty much. The difference is this one I'm talking about is normal. It's okay. You can actually stay in a successful long-term relationship with a person who just withdraws and gets quiet and retreats, as long as they return and talk about it and say, hey, I went away for a while. Sorry about that. I imagine that had an impact on you and that probably didn't feel very good. So they are aware of the impact on you when they get quiet, or at least several hours later, they're like, oh yeah, right. That's probably not cool. And they always come back. They come back to the relationship. They come back to you. They try to understand your feelings. That's what we're looking for. And this kind of silence is not a problem because the person's willing to take responsibility for it. They're willing to understand that there's impact, right? Now, the second type of silent treatment is the punishing type, which starts to get into stonewalling. And it's when a person is intentionally not communicating with you as a way to punish you and as a way to say, fuck you, I am not interested in a conversation with you. Okay, this can happen over email. It can happen over text. It can happen with a roommate or the spouse or with the parents, where the person is just like, no, you don't get access to me. And it feels mean. Now, the impact on you, though, is going to be pretty much the same as the first kind. Initially, when you get any kind of withdrawal, silence, whatever from another person, it feels bad. It feels anxiety provoking and it feels unfair, right? But you want to be with person that I first talked about because they're willing to return and own it and own the impact on you. The second type are the kinds of people that could get labeled narcissistic. They could get labeled gaslighters, stonewallers, sociopaths, mean people, just mean-spirited, rude people, All right. So if that's the kind of person you're dealing with, those kind of people, you want to learn how to leave the relationship. And I have videos on how to leave a relationship or how to end a relationship that you should check out. Because it's not good. Those types of people that I'm talking about now don't change. It's so hard for them to change. They're inherently non-empathic people. They actually don't care about your feelings. And this is one way a weapon they use to try to hurt you and basically say fuck you and protect themselves. Like deep down, they're often like protecting themselves. They have a big wall around them and they're like, no one can get in here and talk to me. We're fine. There's no problem here. Not good. All right. Steer clear of that kind of silent treatment. So know the difference. What I'm basically saying in summary here is there's attachment styles and people who grew up in families where under stress they withdrew. Well, for other people in that same family, that created anxiety because they didn't know. They read into the silence. And because the brain has a negativity bias, we're always going to read into the silence as bad. And we're going to make it about us. Okay? But that person with the avoidant attachment style, if they're a willing partner, they'll come back and repair with you and work through it with you. Right? But don't expect this to get that much better in their life. They will go silent frequently for the rest of your relationship, but they're awesome people because they return and repair with you. Whereas the second type, remember, this is more intentional, manipulative, mean-spirited, disrespectful, and they actually don't care about your feelings, and they're probably not going to care about your feelings. So know the difference between these two types, all right? And only choose friendships and relationships where people treat you well, all right? Okay. Hopefully this has been helpful. Leave a comment if it was, and stay tuned for the next video. And be sure to subscribe to my channel for more awesome relationship and human behavior support.